Hey y'all, hey, welcome to another episode of The Cookout. The Cookout is a place where we come, made for us, by us, to discuss everything black and how we can strategize moving forward, next steps to our promised land. So, let's dig right into today's episode. Today's episode is going to be the nuclear family. Now, when I speak of the nuclear family, I want to talk about it because as we discuss moving forward as a culture, next steps, as we discuss going into our promised land, which is us moving from survival mode to thrival mode as a people, as a whole, for us to work together as a unified nation, a country of people with an established identity. That identity has to include the nuclear family. And so I know that there are a lot of people who have their own ideas of these new modern families, but the nuclear family is so important, and I'm going to tell you why. First of all, what is the nuclear family? The nuclear family is man, woman, and children. If you want to refer back to the African traditions, the shape of the ankh represents the nuclear family. The circle on top represents the womb of the woman. The bottom represents the stem or the male, and the two sides represent the children. So the nuclear family, man, woman, and children. That is an African principle. The reason why this ties into the conversations we've been having about black culture and moving us forward is I believe that one of the systemic tactics of the opposing side is to attack the nuclear family. Why, you might ask? Well, one of the things that the white people are really afraid of is becoming extinct. I know they feed us this propaganda like we're the minorities, but I find it hard to believe that black people with any other color create a black person. If a person is mixed, if they have a black parent, then they are considered black. I find it hard to believe that we are outnumbered when there are so many mixed people, when so many people, the one drop rule exists. Now, if you want to get into statistics, I don't know, because statistics depend on who you survey, right? Based on the people that you ask the question. So they say we're the minority. I don't know. I'm checking the facts, but there is a concern for white people that their race is going to be extinct. So if you're thinking systemically, remember in a previous episode I told you that we have to think end game. We're thinking right now. So if you're them and you're thinking 5, 10, 15, 20, 50, 100 years down the line, end game, one of the ways to make sure that black people are less populated is to stop them from having babies. So if you separate the man and the woman, you can't have black children. So if we divide the man and the woman, if we push gay rights, if we push trans rights, if we push men turning very feminine, if we keep this fight up, keeping the black man and the black woman fighting each other, then guess what? We can't have babies, correct? And if we don't have babies, then they can continue to have babies. Speaking of all of the uproar about the abortion and women's rights and we need to control our body, I happen to believe, my belief, that the real reason that they are having an issue with this is because white women are not having more babies. They need to be able to force white women. They want us to have the abortions, and they want the white women to continue to have the babies because, again, they're thinking about their race. Now, if you're a person who is very wealthy in the white world, and you have a son and a grandson, when you die, you want your son and your grandson to live that same life. You want them to still be running the world with all this money and with all this power, right? So it is in your interest for black people to be underneath your son and your grandson. So it is in your interest for your women to continue to have babies so you have someone in your bloodline. Remember, bloodlines are a very big deal for these people. So they want to continue their bloodlines, but if the women are not having babies, how are they going to do that? So one of the best offenses is defense. So if you're stopping us and you're making sure that you are paying the artists, the celebrities, and everybody that's going to be in front of a camera and everybody that has influence, if you put them on dresses and have them act as girls and have them act feminine and have them fight with their women, then they can't have babies. Another reason the nuclear family is so important is also going back to African traditions. We were never meant to raise children. We were never meant to raise families alone. We were never meant for it to just be you and your house and that's it, right? We come from a line of people who the entire community was a family. All of us raised those children together. Do you remember back in the day, like when you would be playing somewhere, you could be blocks away from your house, and if you saw somebody, you were acting up and you saw somebody, it didn't matter if they knew you or not. They'd say, hey, who are you? Who are your people? Cut that out. Where you live at? Matter of fact, come here, I'm gonna take you home. Because I don't know your mama, I don't know your daddy, but I know they would not approve of what you're doing. That was community. That's why our children could run the streets free, and that's why we could lock our kids outside the house and leave them to play, because we knew that their community was outside of our street, outside of our block, that everyone was a community. So if we're breaking up families, now our black children have no protection when they're out and about in the streets, and say there's some racist guy at the store, some racist guy coming up the street. They no longer have no protection because we don't value family anymore. So one of the main goals long term is to destroy the black family. So I need us to be very aware of that when we are on these apps and on these platforms and we are going head to head as men and women. Don't get got. Don't get got. Don't fall for the okie doke. They like to give us statistics that black men marry outside of their race more often, again with their statistics. I happen to know personally the people that I know, most black men that I know are married to black women or in relationships with black women. Do I see black men with other races? Yes. But the majority of the men that I know are in relationships with other black people. Why do you think they try so hard to make us think differently? We have to be able to stop, pause, and say, where is this information coming from? All of these statistics they give us, all of this propaganda, everything that you see. Know who your enemy is. Even if it's a black face presenting it to you, who's paying that black person? Who's benefiting from this picture that they are giving us? A big piece of us getting free is working together. And a big piece of that is for us to reclaim the black family. We need to get back to the values. I wrote a song about the Huxtables, and I wrote it before everything happened with Bill Cosby. But the premise of the song is don't be a modern family, be the Huxtables. That is the blueprint for the black family. Although it's fictional, that is one of the blueprints for the black family, and that is the space we need to get back into. Black men, black women, stop fighting each other. Men, stop feminizing each other. Ladies, stop supporting transgenders. These men who are only around you and friendly to you because they are copying you want to be you. Okay? A transgender is not your friend. Fight me on it. That's all I have today. Quick episode of the Cookout, but I felt that in my spirit and I really needed to say it. Let's bring back the nuclear family because that is the foundation of this entire movement. Until next time, thank you for joining me on the Cookout.